Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. In this video I'm comparing the Fanatec CSL DD direct drive wheelbase to the Cammus 15 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase. Oh, nearly jamming my fingers under there. This is a heavy beast. Now this may seem like an unfair comparison. 15 Newton meters, 8 Newton meters, but these two are actually similar price, which is why I've decided to compare them today. For similar money before shipping, which one should you actually go for? So in this video today, I'm going to go through a few different points and I'm going to compare form factor, power, noise, software, build quality, all that stuff. So let's get on to it. First up, form factor. This is a pretty easy one, right? The CSL DD is half the size of the 15 Newton meter Cammus and half the weight as well. This may seem like a kind of stupid category in a way, especially if you've got something like an 80-40 cockpit or 120 and a lot of the solid extrusion cockpits. It's not really going to matter, but for those of you out there that don't have dedicated cockpits and you're using these like on a next level racing light cockpit or like, you know, some of the fold away cockpits and all that stuff, that is going to matter to you. Because as you can tell, I can barely pick this up. Not to mention all the force feedback that this provides on top of its weight is going to shake a very light rig all around the place. But something small, light, nice little easy form factor, can easily get a desk clamp on this as well. If you want a cockpit like that and you're choosing between these two, I would probably be going for this one for form factor, definitely. Of course, in a previous video, I did CSL DD versus the Cammus C5. That's a bit more of a tougher comparison between those two, at least for form factor anyway. So check that video out later if you want to see that one. But for this video, we're comparing the Big Daddy. Now, power, pretty obvious one. 8 Newton meters, 15 Newton meters. Well, just the sheer power this thing has just blows the little CSL DD out of the water, I'm afraid. I used the Fanatec CSL DD for about 2 years, and throughout that 2 years it was enough, but I always wanted that little bit more, and this is where this comes in. But with power also comes noise. So noise, the Fanatec CSL DD does not have a fan, it's passively cooled, so therefore it really makes no noise. The Cammus 15 Newton meter, this has an internal heatsink as well as a fan at the back. Producing 15 Newton meters, it obviously gets a bit hotter, uses more power, needs the fan to push the air out the back. So therefore the Cammus is a little noisier. I wouldn't say that the Cammus is a noisy direct drive wheelbase, because it isn't. I've had much noisier racing wheels over the years, like my old Logitech G27. That was noisy, noisy, noisy. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Knock, knock, knock. You could hear that from the other side of the house by far. Whereas this thing, you can't really hear the fan noise when you jump out of the room or anything like that. You can obviously hear the fan noise when it's going really fast when you're in front of it, but other than that, even that, you don't notice it when racing really. So I wouldn't say this is a noisy bass, it's just noisier than the Fanatec CSL DD. So the CSL DD wins this one. That's 2 to Fanatec and 1 to Cammus at this stage. But what about quick release? Now Fanatec really like to lock you into their ecosystem here. They run their own proprietary quick release. It's in no way a universal quick release. As you can see on my CSL DD here, I've got the QR1, which I've had since it came out. Recently Fanatec has released the QR2, which is even more expensive to buy than the QR1, and you have to buy the bass side and the wheel side, like this one here. As many of you may have heard in the past, QR1 has some issues. It can knock around a bit, it can be a little loose. A lot of people didn't like QR1, which is why Fanatec has now made a QR2. But yes, it is more expensive. Whereas on the Cammus side, especially if you're buying the 15 Newton meter in a bundle, it'll actually already have a quick release that just comes with the wheel. You buy a wheel, you get the quick release. Simple. You don't have to buy a wheel and buy the quick release. You just get the quick release with the wheel. And I mean, these wheels aren't expensive either. You can buy this wheel on its own for $199 USD. I think it's $199 USD. And it comes with the button module, the wheel, and magnetic paddle shifters, and the quick release, all for that price. And that comes with the wheel side and the bass side of the quick release as well. And this is I guess you would say, better than QR1 style quick release. It's a bit more sturdy. It's an NRG style. If you wanted to, you could actually not use the Cammus quick release, and you can buy any of the NRG style quick releases off eBay or AliExpress or Amazon, whatever, and just bolt it straight onto the front of the shaft here and just use that. And if you didn't want to use these wheels at all, then, I mean, you could just use an actual car wheel. Don't use a quick release at all. Just bolt it straight to the shaft if you wanted to. Whereas if you wanted to run your own wheel on a CSL DD, you would have to buy a Fanatec universal hub, whether it's CSL, Club Sport, Podium, and then run your own wheel onto that. Because you can't bolt a generic actual car wheel onto this. Whereas most sort of racing wheels and all that, you can actually bolt straight on there. So this one, hands down winner here, is the Cammus. I will say, on a side note to that, if you wanted to, you can also make other wheels easily bolt on to the Cammus through adapters or USB, just universal USB kind of wheels. Just bolt straight on here, no problem. Even Fanatec wheels like this one here. Look at this, I got a Cammus quick release on there. See that? Cammus. I can just bolt this Fanatec wheel straight on that Cammus. I've got a video on how I did that. Check it out later. Now let's talk about software. Software, yes. One thing I don't like about the Fanatec software is the fact you got to run the Fanatec drivers and that kind of software, and you've also got Fanalab as well. I mean, do you really need Fanalab? Not really for most wheels, but if you're running something like this wheel here, then yes, that's how you do all your little flag lights and all that. So it's annoying with Fanatec that you have to run 2 different softwares, whereas Cammus, you've just got one. And this was a kind of difficult one for me, because I find the Cammus software nearly every month is getting better. I mean, 6 months ago, when I first started running Cammus gear, I mean, the software didn't even tell you when there was an update. But they've added that now. They've added recommended settings. You don't have to go to like the Fanatec forums and find out all the recommended settings. It's literally on the software in Cammus, and you don't have to copy them down or anything. You can just go to recommended settings for certain games, certain cars, press apply, and it's there, which is really cool. There's a lot of things I really like about the Cammus software, but Fanatec software is a bit more refined. There's a bit more options there, especially probably because they have more wheels with some more options like the flag lights and all that stuff as well, rev gauge lights and all that stuff that this doesn't have. Obviously there is the GD1 wheel, not just the GDS wheel, which is this one. I don't have that on me today. So I will say Fanatec at the moment, at the time of filming, probably has the best software, but only by the minutest amount, I would say. There's a few more tuning options and all that with Fanatec that you get that you don't get with Cammus, but there's obviously a few more options on the Cammus, like all the recommended settings that you don't get on the Fanatec. So I'm just giving it to the Fanatec here. And one of the biggest things that probably pushed me to give it to the Fanatec is probably the tuning menu. The fact that it's got the tuning menu, you can change all the settings on the fly if you wanted to, directly on the wheel. Whereas with Cammus's software, if you didn't want to jump out and go into the actual software on the computer, the closest thing you've got is the phone app. The Cammus has a phone app you can change all your settings on as well, which is good, but obviously not quite as good as just pressing a button on the wheel. And I mean, when you're in the middle of the race, let's say maybe an endurance race or whatever, you can't just, oh, hold on a minute guys, you're on an online race, everybody stop where you are, let me get my phone out and start messing with the force feedback settings or whatever, you know. Next thing, force feedback. Let's talk about the force feedback detail in between the Fanatec CSL DD and the 15 Newton meter Cammus. Now, this little Fanatec CSL DD is quite well known for its high quality detail. There's some people that have even gone from better Fanatec bases down to the CSL DD because it has better quality detail. So this is quite a good base when it comes to force feedback detail. However, you are limited to 8 Newton meters. So some of that detail can be not as pronounced in a way. And that's where I feel the Cammus starts to exceed the CSL DD a little bit. Because I normally like the Cammus turned up a bit on the power, therefore the finer details are actually more pronounced on the Cammus because I do have it turned up a bit more. If I had them probably turned down to the same power, yeah, the Fanatec CSL DD probably is going to have slightly more detail, but that's limiting it to what power the Fanatec CSL DD has. When actually running it at a bit more power and more where I'm comfortable at least with my settings that I'm running on my Cammus, I'm finding probably just as much detail on the Cammus, and the fact that I've got extra power there as well. I decided to call this one a tie. I really find that the level of detail is probably similar to me. When going from the Fanatec CSL DD over to the 15 Newton meter Cammus, I thought I would probably lose a little bit of detail being like a big 15 Newton meter wheelbase. You might lose out on some of the finer detail, but I don't feel like I'm losing out on any detail here in the Cammus. So I have to just call this one a tie. All right, let's talk about something here. Let's talk about build quality. Now over here on the Fanatec CSL DD, we've got plastic at the front, we've got metal, and then we've got plastic again at the back. Quite flimsy plastic as well, front and back might I add. And look, on the quick release, we got metal, and you would assume that this metal shaft goes all the way into the Fanatec CSL DD. However, that's where you're wrong. This metal quick release actually goes into a carbon composite shaft. And you don't have to look too far online to find carbon composite shafts snapped. I would say that's probably the one downfall to the CSL DD, really in the build quality, that I don't know why they, I kind of know why they did it. Lighter shaft, more detail. You run it a little bit too powerful and crash the wall or something, snappy. I've also heard quite a few reports recently. I don't think I really heard it too much with the initial batches of the CSL DD, but for some reason at the moment, a lot of people are finding, even brand new out of the box, you turn the shaft and the shaft's actually bending. So yeah, over here on this side, we've got metal, like everything is really strong, good build quality. Definitely haven't heard of any Cammus shafts snapping. These things are bricks. So even just in terms of looks and all that, I would say, and feels, and I would say definitely Cammus on this one. And also just going off my prior history, I've bought 7 Fanatec products in total. And of those 7 Fanatec products in total, 3 of them have had failures. And Cammus, I've had 6 products and I've had 0 failures so far. One of the Fanatec failures I had was this wheel. The shifters failed, and that's a pretty common thing to fail. Fanatec did say, sure, send it back to us, we'll replace it. And I'm like, meh. So I just ordered these SimMakers magnetic shifters, and I just upgraded it to a better shifter. And anyway, yeah, I've had 3 failures now with Fanatec, none with Cammus. So build quality goes to Cammus on this one. And last of all, price to performance ratio. As I said, the whole reason I'm comparing these two is they're the same price. And to get 15 Newton meters for the price of 8 Newton meters, and still the same kind of level of detail in the force feedback, and quite comparable units, yeah, I have to give it to Cammus on this one. Not only is the base cheaper, the wheels cheaper, the quick releases are cheaper. If you wanted to run your own wheel on there, you don't have to buy universal hubs and stuff. You just bolt it straight to the shaft if you wanted to. You don't have to buy your own button boxes. Like, this has a button box on it. So if you were running your own wheel, just bolted straight to the shaft, you've got your own button box here already. Since getting this 15 Newton meter Cammus base, I've really loved this, and I have had no need to upgrade to anything else. I really feel happy with this base. especially now that I've got other wheels to put on there. Converted that to USB with the Cammus quick release and everything, the bolts straight on there, no problemo. And yeah, really happy. And Cammus is always improving on this stuff, and especially the software. It's changed a lot in the 6 months or so I've been using Cammus products, and I've been really impressed by them. I think I'll be using this for a long time to come. So thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.